Hello everyone, welcome to Perseverance IAS. Today is August 1st, 2021. Today is Sunday. Hope you are taking your deserved rest after a week long preparation so that you head on to next week's preparation with renewed energy. Now, without any further delay, let us begin. What are the articles to be read on the Sunday edition of Hindu? The first one is Assam CM wants neutral probe into border crash. Again, this is in regards to Assam Mizoram border issue. Please do read this from that perspective to have an awareness of what is going on. In further, there will be an article in regards to Assam Nagaland deal in page number 7. That also you have to link this up with. I'll discuss it then what to do with that article. Now moving on to page number 2, women beat officers bring in sense of security comfort. Now this article is important because remember, the problem with Indian police right now is the lack of sensitivity training. There are myriad of multiple other issues, but the primary one where the interactions between police and population, that is civilian population, has always been a negative one, or majority of them are negative one. So that please do read this article from that perspective as to how to improve or how to ease interaction between police and civilians. From that perspective, please do read this article. Moving on to page number 6, that is news. Pegasus Row CJI bench to hear plea on August 5th. This is again related to yesterday's article. Please do link up with yesterday's article and read this. This is just an update here. Until unless we have some subjudicial probe or something like that, it doesn't gonna matter. But be aware that there is a plea in Supreme Court. Apart from that, not important. Skip it if you want. Now moving on to the next article. Always keep nation's interest in mind, Prime Minister. Hopefully one day, by your hard work and by your share good deeds, one day you'll be sitting in the same meeting as these IPS professionals are, who have successfully cleared prelims, mains and interview, and have completed their training. So hopefully my wishes, my prayers with you, so that hopefully one day you will sit in this meeting where you will also get a gnan from the Prime Minister of that period when you have cleared your um, UPSC CSE examination. So good luck with that. Just to be aware as to what is going on, apart from that, I just wanted it to be a morale boost for you, so that you know that you too can one day sit in that meeting as an IAS or an IPS probationary. Now moving on to the next page, next article, India and China hold a 12th round of dialogue. This is again in regards to the disengagement pact between India and China in eastern Ladakh area. Please do read this article from that perspective. Now this is more important, page number 7. Sri Lanka seeks to reset relations with India. Now the idea is, try to read upon what are the projects that India is committing to in Sri Lanka, and also the projects that China is committing to do in Sri Lanka, and what are the implications of the Chinese projects on Indian national security and coastal security, and its threats to India's interests in Sri Lanka. And one more thing, this is the 30th anniversary of the Indian Peacekeeping Force mission in Sri Lanka. So there will be a possibility that something that might be some question that is related to IPKF might be asked, because compared to earlier times, Indian Peacekeeping Force mission in Sri Lanka is being widely discussed in a public way, both by government entities and non-government entities. So my humble suggestion would be for you to is try to read up some basic facts about Indian Peacekeeping Force mission, so that if and when a question is asked, you are covered, so that it doesn't surprise you in either prelims. So try to read up, because mind you, after a long period of time, the Indian Peacekeeping Force mission is being discussed, as I said earlier. So please do read up on Indian Peacekeeping Force mission. If you have time, there is this YouTube channel called Strat Global News or Strat News Global. There is an interview with an esteemed commander of the Indian Peacekeeping mission. To get an understanding of what actually went there, go and watch that YouTube. If possible, I'll drop the link in the section, information section below. But my humble suggestion is read read little bit about, so that you have a good understanding. My suggestion would be read a little bit about Indian Peacekeeping Force and its missions in Sri Lanka, so that a question if asked, you will be able to answer. Again, it is related to Sri Lanka alone. Now moving on to the next article, Assam and Nagaland signed deal to reduce tension along border. Again, this is in regards to the border issue between both the countries. If you could try to get some historical perspective of what has been the problem, what is the problem, and what would be a possible way out of this problem. Now moving on to page number 8, India all set for UNSC presidency term. Try to read what entails a UNSC presidency term, how advantageous it is for India, what can it achieve through it, and what are the election procedures for UNSC is also important, so that a prelims question if asked you will be able to answer. Now moving on to the next article, no further sentence after life term, Supreme Court. This is in regards to the double punishment that is awarded in some cases. So the Supreme Court is saying nobody should be punished twice for the same crime or same charge. This is again the different aspect of double punishment, meaning if a person is being awarded a jail term of life term, that is 15 to 20 years in some cases. I'm sorry, I don't know, so don't take it on my word. Please do read up on your own. No, read this from that perspective. Double punishment kind of a. So please do read this article from the perspective of double punishment, or getting awarded life terms or sentences twice for a single crime. Now moving on to the next article, railways to deploy satellite backed clocks to ensure uniform time. So learn about what are the technology that they are talking about. The important aspect is, are they using an American or a European satellite or an Indian satellite? Try to find out the make of the satellite that they are using, because remember, India has recently launched its own nuclear clocks in our own satellites, particularly GSAT mission if I am not right. So try to read up on the nuclear clocks or satellite clocks also, so that you will be aware of what technology is involved. Now moving on to the cultural aspect of it, ASI breathes life into 17th century Dutch cemetery. Now moving on, ASI breathes life into 17th century Dutch cemetery. Please do read this from cultural perspective. Try to find out where it is, how significant it is. Now moving on to page number 9, that is World Taliban clash with Afghan forces in Herat. Again, this is in development to Afghanistan, so please do read it from that perspective. Now this is just an informative article, and similarly one more informative article is 2 killed in drone strike on oil tanker of Oman US Navy. Now this is a map pointing one. Read what is the conflict that is taking place in the Middle Eastern region. Now 2 killed in drone strike on oil tanker of Oman US Navy. This is a map pointing one, and also try to read what is the conflict that is taking place in the Middle East in terms of oil tankers and sea routes. Again, this involves Iran. So map pointing, my suggestion would be, try to pinpoint what are the straits there, what are the seas there, what are the access routes there. So everything related to map pointing of that region, try to prepare in terms of map pointing. Now moving on to the next article, WHO sounds alarm over Delta variant surge. Again, this is informative, nothing more, just read to be aware of it. Now moving on to the next article, UN warns hunger is expected to rise in 23 global hotspots. What are the global hotspots? What are the reasons why they are expecting that, and what would be a possible solution? And if you can read, try to read what are the programs that UN is carrying out in these areas to address these issues. That might be actually helpful for your prelims. Now moving on to page number 10, that is Science and technology. Erroneous to conclude we have attained herd immunity. Try to read about what this herd immunity is. If you can miss this article. I don't see much significance from anything out of this. Anything that can be learned can be simply learned from a simple Google search as to what herd immunity is. I don't think you need to spend this much time reading this article. Now moving on, again something related to science. After our midlife crisis, what ails the middle-aged son? This is again regards to science. Please do read it just to improve your understanding. Now moving on to the next article, page number 11, FAQ, end-to-end genome sequencing. Now this is important. Anything that is related to genome sequencing is particularly significant, because any question might be asked as to this genome sequencing, either it may be related to the human genome sequencing or the COVID-19 virus, SARS-CoV-2 virus sequencing. So we read this article from that perspective. Now moving on to the next important article is RBI planning a digital currency for India. This is in regards to CBDCs. Read everything about it. Possible question. Now moving on to the next article, how will consumers benefit from right to repair? Again, this is right to repair, which is very important discussion that is taking place offshores off of India, but it will sure enter Indian public discourse also. Please do read about this article. Now moving on to 12, this is Dholavira, ruins of an Indus Valley civilization, recently UNESCO World Heritage Site. If you don't know anything about it, read absolutely every bit of this article. This will certainly give you a 360-degree understanding. If you know, read it again. There are no issues. Page number 13, SBI SEBI surge urges peers to rethink bond market curbs. Again, this is in regard to economy. So please do read this from that perspective. Now these are the important articles that one might read in the Hindu newspaper for competitive examinations. Hope you are having a good day. Hope your preparation is going well. Stay safe. Namaste. And like always, please do subscribe, like, comment and share.